In this video, we will go over the Young and Burgess classification for pelvic ring injuries. This classification is a modification built upon the tile classification and is based on the force at initial impact. The types can serve as an indicator of the severity of the injury, especially as it relates to surrounding soft tissue structures. The Young and Burgess classification proves to be helpful in the acute setting as well as in the reconstructive phase of treatment. Now, I hope this video will act as an introduction into a topic that comes from a very sophisticated area, and so feel free to delve further into pelvic ring injuries if you so wish, but hopefully this video will give you a good starting block. To start, we have to understand what the pelvic ring is. They define the pelvic ring as something composed of three major components: the sacrum and two paired lateral components that were each made up of the ilium, ischium, and pubis, as you can see here. These three components are held together by ligamentous support structures which provide the stability of the pelvic ring, with notably the majority of the stability being provided by the supportive structures at the sacroiliac joints, which you can appreciate here. The short interosseous SI ligaments unite the tuberosities of the ilium and sacrum, making the upper portion of the SI joint less rigid than the lower portion of the joint. This meant that the symphysis acts more as a supportive strut, which they highlighted in their original paper. Also make note that the common iliac vessels give rise to the internal and external iliac vessels at this level. The proximity of these vital structures is one of the several reasons pelvic ring injuries can be so life-threatening. The pelvic cavity can store about 4 to 6 liters of blood, sometimes even more than this, and communicates with the retroperitoneal space, which we know is not picked up on the fast scan, thus emphasizes the urgency that needs to be taken with pelvic ring injuries. The Young and Burgess classification has 4 major categories based on the direction of compression at the time of injury: anterior-posterior compression, lateral compression, vertical shear, and combined. For the APC group, there are 3 types. All involve an open book fracture, which is the pubic diastasis seen here. APC1 is stable and involves a pubic diastasis of less than 2.5 centimeters. APC2 is rotationally unstable but is vertically stable. This is due to the fact that the pubic diastasis is now over 2.5 centimeters, but the posterior SI ligamentous complex is still intact. And lastly, an APC3 is the most severe of the 3 and equates to a complete hemipelvis separation with disruption of the anterior and posterior SI ligaments. For the LC group, there are also 3 types. An LC1 is stable and involves an oblique fracture of the pubic rami with an ipsilateral anterior compression fracture of the sacral ala. LC2 is rotationally unstable, involving a fracture to the pubic rami and a posterior fracture with dislocation of the ipsilateral iliac wing, also known as a crescent fracture. And LC3 is the most unstable and involves an ipsilateral LC and a contralateral APC type fracture. Next is vertical shear, which is an injury typically seen where there is an axial load placed on perhaps one leg, seen in individuals who have falls from height, for example. This is the most unstable of the groups listed thus far and involves vertical displacement of the hemipelvis, pubic, and SI joints. Lastly, the combined is exactly what it sounds like and is a complex fracture made up of a combination of the APC, LC, and vertical shear fractures. I would like to thank Dr. Andrew Burgess for sitting down with me to teach me about pelvic ring injuries. Alrighty, I'll see y'all in the next one.